Hi, I'm Leathur Rokk. Welcome to my channel. This is Atlantic City Live, Tales from the Ghetto. It is now 6:38 in the morning, and let's talk, shall we? Now, please don't share what I'm about to tell you. As almost always, I tell the truth. I mean, sometimes I have to ask, and I am in an ass saving moment right now, but I need to talk to you about some things that are going on here. And I want to live in it, but I don't think I do drugs out of it. Imagine if there was a bus that had people living in it, and imagine if those people, when they weren't in the bus, they sat right up against your apartment building. Imagine if they hung out with lawn chairs and sat on milk crates underneath your mailbox. Imagine if they smoked tobacco and crack and shot heroin and did all these things right under your bedroom window. And imagine if, because maybe you can't afford air conditioning, so you have your windows open, imagine getting all those electrical ghetto aroma, crack, the aromas of tobacco smoke and cigars. And imagine if there was trash left all over all night. And imagine you live in a situation where there were people who really had no business getting in your business that accused you and your family of causing the vermin. And by vermin, I mean mice, ants, termites, cockroaches, all these things that my family's being blamed on. When, oh boy, it's all fucking ridiculous. Fucking ridiculous. You guys, I could be coming home at any time of your night and have to walk through people hanging out. Used to be just across the street. That was bad enough. That was still noisy. But now it's right under my nose. I saw this, and sometimes I like to pick up trash and stuff because when you have trash and food wrappers and stuff up against the lane, gee, that doesn't attract vermin. It doesn't attract. We have anthills all underneath this building, I guess. And you know how anthills they come up, the ants come up through cracks in the sidewalk. So, and I've tried things like pouring boiling water to get rid of the ants, and there are so many ant trails that doesn't really work. Yeah, this is just things are out of control. I My mother happened to be up. Again, I'm going to tell you, it's 6:41 a.m. I said, Mom, please put your shoes on, get out of bed, walk downstairs. I want you to see this for yourself. My mother is not the most ambulatory person in the world. In around the house, she walks with a cane. She's always over, Uh, and so I got her, and it was like pulling teeth to get her to cooperate. I said, Mom, I wouldn't be asking you to do this if it wasn't important. I need you to see this with your own eyes because maybe I'm a liar. Maybe I'm full of shit. Maybe everybody around you blows smoke up your ass. I want you to see for your own eyes so that you can see. So I made her go downstairs. I made her take a look around. There was two like beach chairs. They're still up against the building. There's two or three milk crates. I saw people, they eat dinner there. They socialize there. Any of their junkie friends come over. There are these groups of people and they all hang out underneath my window. I was wondering, I thought I was smelling tobacco smoke. Nobody in my home smokes tobacco. My mother did. When I was 6, she quit cold turkey. We are a non-tobacco home. Tobacco makes most of us feel really sick. I cannot tolerate it. That's why I get so sick when I accidentally get the tobacco in a roach, the roach wrappers and stuff, or sometimes people mix it with their weed, or sometimes you hit on a vape pen that you don't realize had nicotine in it. That makes some people feel really sick. And there's no escape here. Uh, look out. Oh, I was going to say, look out. I want to look, wanted to offer you guys to look out the window, but not everybody caught up in all this thing are bad people. Many of these people I personally like. And well, maybe the fact that some people hand me weed sometimes has something to do with it. I guess you could say, and maybe this shows that I'm as corruptible as anybody else, that my silence can be bought if you give me enough weed. Well, nobody has given me enough weed. I was given a roach this big yesterday when I mentioned something about how tobacco smoke was filtering in. And I said, look, you guys, you want to hang a place to hang out? I understand that. Everybody needs a place to hang up to be safe from the cops and stuff. But we live here. My family pays too much rent for this abuse that we get. And to find out that there are people who are associated with this building who don't like my family and me and are actively wanting us to move out, because if we were to move out of this apartment, it's a 4-bedroom apartment. Imagine how many people you could fit in here. Imagine if you were a charity or a social service agency or a church and you decided to rent out this apartment from our landlord, and imagine all the bunk beds you could fit in each bedroom. You know, you can make so much money off of this apartment if we weren't here, and we know that. Now, what the hell is going on? Do more people know what's going on than just us, and are they tolerating it? Are they making money off of it too? What the fuck is going on here? Oh, I wanted to bring something else to your attention. I finally called my buddy up the street, Chuck, who is a fellow guitar player, and I haven't seen him too much this summer. I think his father has been putting him to do a lot of chores around the house or something and stuff. So I just don't see him. Plus, I'm not on the boardwalk as much as I would like to be because of police harassment. Well, I finally called him last night. I left a message. I said, dude, I have all these guitars and nothing has a full set of strings on them. And that means my income is like down to practically zero. And because I mean, when I brought the electric out the other day, I broke a string. And I wasn't playing with the funny picks that I make using credit cards or whatever. It was a real pick and it wasn't a hard pick. I'm like, what the hell am I doing that I'm breaking strings? You should not break a string every session you play guitar. If that's the case, then, you know, especially when I still can't change strings. Well, so here's what my friend did. My acoustic, and he found some strings that he took off another guitar, and they weren't even the right gauge, and they were like any old thing. And normally I would like to keep things either all the Diodario lights that my guitar tech strung this and my PV Raptor, or just when they all break, just use the cheap strings that I got from wish.com. But the last time I got strings from wish.com, one of the packages only had 5 strings in it. And it didn't include one of the strings that I needed. So, okay, now I'm still missing a string here. I might being the operative word, go out playing guitar tonight. You know, this, I can't believe this is the 1st of September already. And it doesn't seem like the summer's almost over, and I find that really depressing because to me, when it cools off and the crowds die away, as happens every year, then there's just less people hanging out and it's less fun. Even though, in my defense, the people that I party with don't, for the most part, tend to be a lot of uh tourists. They tend to be the locals that I know. Some of them are homeless, not all of them are. It's hard to tell. Um, because many of the people hang out together regardless of housing status because, you know, friendship and all that. But yeah, so it's still, the situation is I have all these musical instruments and not one of them is fully strung up. And I'm having a real issue with trying to string, and my mother doesn't understand the problem. I say, have you ever tried it? And she hasn't. You know, things look like they're easy, but like my friend Chuck had problem even getting uh the strings. Uh, they were twisted so much, and there's only 3 people that have ever strung my guitars: my guitar tech, Chuck up the street, and Fuzzy. And Fuzzy, if he's down to one guitar here in Atlantic City, I don't know what he's doing now that he's on speed and he's got his guitar taken from him. And these people that are, and I mean, far be it for me to criticize a speed freak. I did amphetamines for over 20 years, starting when I was a teenager. I had my fun. I quit all the chemicals once I started to think that my brain wasn't functioning right. I got scared and I quit. Alcohol, again, I got scared and I quit because I saw that, it was one big change I can make in my life would solve most of my problems, and I was quitting drinking, and I quit drinking. Oh, you want to see real scratched up paint finish? There's so many layers of paint that just gotten scratched off. I'm sure possibly because I wear a studded belt that I attach my money pouch to. Now I don't understand why studs should affect paint jobs on guitars. Half the guitarists seem to wear stud belts, and do they scratch up their guitars? I don't know what's up with that, but fuck it. I suppose I could always repaint it. Uh, yeah. Some other things I wanted to mention. Uh, oh yeah, can anybody identify Chinese medicine? The lady that drops off the Popeyes chicken over at a certain front of a certain social service agency in the neighborhood that everybody checks, it's a drop off point. If I want to share something with people, I drop things off there. Like when I'm going through the closets and I realize there's something that's just too big, or there's an outfit, a children's outfit that I got that turned out really does fit a little child and I can't squeeze into. There's a place where everybody drops things off and stuff. And sometimes people shoot up and sometimes they smoke crack. And all these things I never knew about, drugs that I never did. I'm getting such an education. All the girls, plain face, tattered clothes, girls that hang around here that turns out they're prostitutes. You would never see. That's the thing about living in a ghetto. Things are so not what they seem. You don't know what's going on unless you really pay attention and you really study. And sometimes you don't know until people tell you their truth. Like half these girls, they've admitted to me that they are turning tricks and stuff. And they'll even ask me if I'm doing it. It's like, no. And I'm trying to say it in a way that doesn't seem like I'm judging them. But some things it's hard to hide your disgust. And yes, I do have a problem with prostitution. The whole idea of somebody using their body and selling it, I find personally so very repugnant. Part of it is because I remember being an 11-year-old little girl crossing the street and having a guy ask me for a hug. And he was so thrilled that I let him have a hug. And I didn't realize until I came home and told my parents, and my mother explained to me, as delicately as a proper, educated, formerly church going and respectable wasp-ish woman, and I'm being a little sarcastic here, can show their very sheltered, innocent little daughter that the guy actually thought that I was a woman of the evening. That was the phrase that was in my house. And I was wearing a tube top and I was wearing shorts, but I was 11. I filled out about as much as I do now, which is nothing. Even if you're 11, I think I may have been the second uh, most developed girl when I was 11. But then, just like I was one of the tallest, then everybody shot up and exceeded me, and I maintained this not quite teenager body, which I guess is pretty groovy when you're not a teenager anymore. If only the ID checkers would stop checking for ID, because if they can't tell by the Grand Canyons on my forehead that I'm not 21, well, but whatever. So anyway, I have all this Chinese medicine here. Now this is the one thing that doesn't have a box and instructions. It's a syrup. This this I think I'm going to take. These things here, this actually has a bilingual insert. This is what the pills look like. these are sinus pills, and my family, my mother and I especially, I don't know about the other person that lives here because we don't talk. Like I said, if I said many times with the other person that lives here, if I was on fire, he wouldn't pee on me to put it out. But now, according to this, Farfin Payman Kamwan, it is rhinitis is a commonplace disease, and it gives all these forms of rhinitis. So these are sinus pills, and they take the tissue out, and the pills look round. They're not like the typical pressed pills that are flat, and they're actually round and oval, and you know. So these I definitely can see taking. And the ingredients are all herbs, and I'd have to put those glasses on to. Should I get the glasses? Yeah, I'll get the glasses. Um, oh, these are ugly. My mother thinks they're cute on me, but she's just being nice. It's funny, sometimes she can be nice, sometimes she can call me a fat ass, you know, and it's like, and you call a young person a fat ass enough, they'll always think they're a little overweight and they'll always think they need to lose 5 more pounds. When I was in LA, every time I went on a dance audition, it was always you need to lose 5 more pounds. I mean, and I was already on speed. I was working out. Well, for a while there, I had a holiday spa membership when I was sleeping in my car, though. And like an idiot, I could have renewed it for $15 a year. And I don't know why I didn't. Anyway, I haven't worked out hardcore in a gym. And I mean, and I didn't even know what I was doing in those days. I know a lot more about working out since I've been working out with uh, those tapes that Comcast has and stuff on demand. There's probably so many more things that you can work out to that are free and on demand. Well, let me see. I'm going to use the only thing that I could see out of these glasses are the uh, reading glasses, kind of bifocal part. The top part here, if I look through here and I look here, I actually see better over them and through them. So I couldn't use these to drive. How am I going to get a driver's license? Now I have an optometrist and an ophthalmologist. The optometrist gave me a quickie exam that I felt that he didn't check me on the lower things. There's no resolution with that. And then with the ophthalmologist, he gave me tests were a little bit more what I expected from when I had my vision checked when I was a teenager. But then they offered me a test that my insurance, and I have Medicaid, which is like the best insurance. All you guys that pay for your health insurance wish you had my kind of insurance because Medicaid, prescription drugs are free, uh, referrals are free, uh, ER is free, ambulance is free, and my prescription drugs I can either pick up at the hospital if I'm getting things at the hospital, or I have a Walgreens. It's literally a few blocks away and is open 24 hours. I don't know if the pharmacy is open 24 hours, but still, I could get my meds that way. See this? What good are these? These are no better than 99-cent store reading glasses. I don't know what the magnification is. I have no idea. But anyway, I'd be too afraid to drive in these, honestly. So does this mean I get to drive without vision correction? Does this mean I need to find another doctor and get better glasses? I have insurance. These were free, but I had only 20 different kind of frames that I could pick from, and I want aviators. What President Biden and his son Hunter wear, I like aviators. They look best with my eye shape, whatever, whatever. So all this stuff is going on here, and I made my mother see everything, and she says, why don't I call? There's a certain person, like I shouldn't say anymore, who wants us to leave. A certain person that's accused us of attracting all the bugs around. The person who said lies. He said that the pest control guy who treated our, we had two different companies. We had Western and now we have Orkin. And we're on our second landlord. For all I know, this building may have been sold. There's somebody that's been buying up property all around this area, the street back here, the street over here. Somebody's been buying up a lot of property. And the people who live across the street, way, way, way across the street, that apparently maybe recently moved in and decide they don't like this criminal activity. And I don't know if they have something to do with the people that are buying up stuff in here, but we may have even a new landlord now. Anyway, we did some research and found out that just like there's doctor client privilege, where a doctor can't talk about your health issues with strangers, and a priest can't talk about what he said to you in a confessional to people, even if it's authorities, even if you confess to murder, you tell a priest he can't blab, right? At least that's what I heard. And by the way, I don't think that's right. But then again, I have a very dim view of religion, because I think that most of you guys that believe in religions, you've been sold a load of bullshit and you're believing crazy things. But hey, whatever. If I said what I really thought, somebody'd probably kill me. And that's ridiculous, because why is it some religions or think that they have, or deem that they can have more respect than others? I don't get that. You can insult a Bible and nobody does anything, but insult another religion and they behead you or something. Why is that? Why do we tolerate this in the world? Why, what I sometimes I wish, many times I wish people would all wake up and realize that all the religions are bullshit. Now, metaphysics, on the other hand, isn't bullshit, because there is proof that that works. If I use crystals and I concentrate and I focus the mind and I can bend things to my will, that is a fact. But these people that are doing these rituals that are just religious stuff, or that's praying, doesn't work. You're praying, I could invent a character. I could invent the mighty cube, and I could give the cube a name. Oh, holy cube. And I could start, I light candles to this cube and I pray to this cube. If good things happened in my life, is it because of this cube that I invented that I'm praying to? No. It has nothing to do with it. But if things behave as so named, I could start praying to this guitar. Almighty 5-string guitar, please clean up the ghetto. Please protect me. Oh, yes, and let me make hundreds of dollars every day with my 5-string guitar. Almighty 5-string guitar. That's what all religions seem like to a person that's gotten old enough to realize that it's all hooey. And I'm probably have insulted a bunch of you people, but guess what? You know what? You can't get in life without offending some people. Maybe I'm the voice of reason. Maybe I'm the voice of telling the truth here. It's sort of like when people get sober off of drugs, chemicals, whatever. You wake up. Part of the reason why I quit hard drugs, want to know why? It wasn't just because I thought that it caused brain damage and it scared me, which obviously, if you've been told all your life how smart you are and to be proud of, and that brains are more important than looks, which everybody says to people that aren't all that attractive. If you noticed, I grew up a real ugly redhead girl. I felt like I was a little fat because I was redhead. I felt that I was ugly, and I felt that when people told me how smart I was, especially considering that when you're a teacher's pet in school, the other kids don't like it. I felt that the reason why I was told I was smart was because I was not very attractive. And I always felt that I was a little on the fat side. And of course, when I discovered cocaine, which of course you could still eat on it, but when I discovered speed, oh, you don't sleep and you don't eat on it. Wow, flat tummy, here we come. Much more fun than exercise, right? Yeah. Of course, you don't realize that the amphetamines are eroding your muscle. So you get this thing they call healthy fat, where, no, not healthy fat. It's skinny fat, where you look nice and skinny, but you don't have any muscles because the amphetamines eat your muscles before it goes after your fat. And that's what I was doing to myself when I first went to California. I did my first rail when I was 17. And by rail, I don't mean what you belly up against a bar to. I know I'm talking a little drug talk. I'm assuming there are a few former druggies that watch me, because I would, for whatever reason, people watch me and I don't always know what it is. But I'd like to think that I can be trusted to tell the truth. At least I know what I've lived. But this is just Okay, so back to the pills here. So this contains the sinus pills, radix, calateria, macrantha, herba, augustaches, magnolis officinalis, I think that's magnolia, uh, herba centipede, mine, glycories, glabra, rhizoma, atractylotus. It says as a dietary supplement, take 4 tablets 3 times a day with warm water. Store in a cool, dry place. I need to see if I can't get these looked at by people who read Chinese. These are all seem to be made in Hong Kong. Why do they make the lettering so damn small? I mean, there ought to be a law. Okay, I have heard of Po Chai pills, and I believe one of my high school classmates who is really, he, I think, really likes Asian men a lot. I don't blame him because I do too. But I mean, when I say he really likes them, I mean he likes it. He likes the boys. There's nothing wrong with that. I like everybody potentially who's not an asshole. Hmm. Well, these are sugar coated, and these have now this guy. He's got a famous face that is on Chinese medicine. Now, this pochai pills is a natural herbal supplement that has been very popular for more than 100 years. This traditional mixture of natural herbs has provided supplementation for many people throughout the world since the time of the Qing dynasty. Pochai pills are composed of only the fine quality Chinese herbs. They are mild, pure, and well accepted. Pochai pills provide a unique and welcome addition to one's daily life. Pochai pills have been widely distributed through Hong Kong, Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, Taiwan, Thailand, as well as other Asian countries. They may also be found in Chinese communities in many other parts of the world. Manufactured by Li Changxing Tong Holdings Limited. Distributed by So's USA Company Incorporated, Los Angeles, California. Um, Directions: adults take 1 to 2 vial 4 times a day, at least 2 hours apart. Children take half a vial 4 times a day. So, see, you don't take just one thing, apparently. But you know what? Because I'm reading the English thing. Oh yeah, pochai pills provide the promotes the health of the immune system, the gastrointestinal system, and the inner ear. This product has long been known for its contribution to health and is used worldwide. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. It seems to me that the whole point of taking supplements is to, if not diagnose, it's to treat or cure or prevent diseases or things. We take vitamin C to prevent scurvy, right? If you don't have any vitamin C, what happens? So, but this is a boxes of these pills, and yeah, okay, I'm gonna put these away. I know you should never take things that you don't know what they are, but for some reason, this feels safer than a lot of our American drugs. Okay, this thing here, Peking Yu Huang Chen Tu Pian. Now, Chen, doesn't that mean dog, or is that dog in another language? Now, these pills, there's 20 tablets, sugar coated, indications: headache, vertigo, sore throat, gastric fever, mouth pimples, toothache, children's fever, nausea. Administration: 2 tablets 2 times daily, to be taken in the morning and evening with lukewarm boiled water. Children's dose to be reduced by half. Caution: avoid oily food, contraindicated during pregnancy. Distributed by Chuan Cheong Company Limited, Hong Kong. So, but it says you're supposed to avoid oily food. How the heck do you do that? I mean, there's not a lot to eat here that isn't oily. Oh, see, this is what these pills look like. But the oily food thing, that I think is concerning. Now, these are what the ingredients are in this: Calculus bovis, 2.5%; Rhizoma coptidis, 14%; Borneo camphor, 7.5%. I know what camphor is. That's actually, I have some, and it has occult uses. Like you can sniff, did you know you could sniff camphor if you want to reduce or get rid of your sex urges? But if you do that too much, it can cause insanity. Now, this is an occult use that I understand some clerics and some monks have done this when they didn't want to feel sexual feelings, and if they felt, because maybe they took a oath of chastity or something, and so they're not supposed to be sexually active, and I guess they can't even reach, whatever. And which, I notice not all religions have that chastity thing. Like there are some Christian sects that the priests or pastors or whatever you want to call them are allowed to get married and have families and stuff. But still, I think they're probably supposed to keep the sex within the marriage. So, yeah, this is this is so ridiculous, you guys. It's 24 hours that goes on here. Okay, herba menthe. I'm guessing that's a form of mint, 7%. Um, Fructus gardeniae. These are all the specific epithets, which are the Latin names for plants. Uh, but yeah, and it says Peking Tung Jen Tang, Peking, China, and this is the information that came with that. This goes in here. So now, because those people are in the jitney, I can't get away with cleaning up. I have to leave this mess. And that's the thing, is the people who, when you have mess in front of a property, it brings down property values. If you have anything, if say they want to rent out the downstairs for a church, let's say, it would make that church look bad, or whatever they might want to rent the downstairs for. And well, if you know, you know. I don't want to say too much because I don't want my streams being found out by people, because I don't want to make any more enemies. We have a very powerful man in the city of Atlantic City who hates my family and me. He's made false accusations against many of us. He's accused me of throwing things out the window. And there are people, he knows, he's just a bad person. He really is. There are some powerful people that are absolutely no good. And unfortunately, they are powerful sometimes because they do favors for people. And I can't talk about the stuff that's going on because I'm worried about my safety. Because some of these people have um, relationships with the police department. And, you can't do anything to defend yourself against people that are affiliated with the police department. And certain people, because they are on all kinds of boards of directors of social service agencies, different community things here in this city and in other nearby towns. See, you got Atlantic City on the island, you got Ventnor, Margate, and Longport, and then you got, once you go on our bridges to go on to the mainland, you've got Pleasantville. That's where my music store is. And when I found out, by the way, that the prices for the guitar strings that I use are even more expensive at Guitar Center. So, oh yeah, um, I want to get back to something else about the guitar thing last night. the guy that came over and changed some of my strings for me, he asked me for $10, but he said that he was going to get some good, I hope it's good weed today, and he would give me my $10 back and get another string for the guitar, and so I'd get my money back and get some weed and get that other string put on sometime today. And I'm hoping he does that because I really would like to take the guitar out onto the boardwalk, make some money, hang out with my friends. I would like to do that. I can't believe it's the 1st of September already. I have missed so much of the summer. I haven't gone to any of the full moon beach raves. And they have this thing. If you go in the Anchor Rock Club, they have a sign saying with a phone number, and it's a cell phone, and it says, text this number to get put on the text list to find out when the beach raves are. Well, if you have a landline, you don't get text messages. And that number, I don't suppose you can call a number that's text only. And they had some posters that they taped up onto some of the things on the boardwalk, and there's this at least one CRETA volunteer, or he's an ambassador. His job is to remove stickers and things. And even when I told him that that was a schedule to be kept up year round for everybody to know, what was going on, he I'm sure took things down. And since we don't get the AC Weekly, I don't think even exists anymore. There's a new newspaper that instead of focusing primarily on Atlantic City, focuses on the general area, including all the way down to Cape May. In other words, for the people who have cars and they can drive around, and it's nothing for them to go 30 or 40 miles to shop or go to lunch or whatever. And I guess they're probably making more money because they're getting more advertisers over a bigger radius. But still, if you're a local and you just want to learn about the things that are in your neck of the woods, I want to know what I can walk to. I want to know what's going on in the casinos. I want to know what's going on, what bands are coming to town. I want to know when tickets go on sale, Ticketron, stuff in case there's a concert I really, really, really want to go to, even though I really don't appreciate getting the nosebleed seats. That, by the way, my glasses will not help me see farther. I say there's a rock star over there. I put these glasses on. This makes it worse. Makes no sense. This looks better than looking through this. So, you know, and I don't think looking at a jumbotron thing that maybe up here when they're actually here, you got all these people that are looking at the screen and looking at you. When I am on stage, I want people to look at me, not at something else. I mean, they might as well be reading a newspaper, which I've had happen when I was a dancer at the Ivar Theater in Hollywood, California, and there'd be spotlights, like Klieg lights around the edge of the stage. And I saw this one guy, I saw him reading an LA Express. The LA Express probably isn't made anymore, but it is a magazine about pornography, and it listed where all the dirty bookstores was and all the places where you could watch movies. And the back of it had prostitute listings. Yeah, they actually had ads. As a matter of fact, did you know something? That until only a few years ago, there were these ads in the back of the AC Weekly. They were considered adult listings. They were call girl ads. A call girl is an escort, is a prostitute. It's the same thing. Even if maybe they're only being seen going out to dinner with a stranger. The job involves sucking and fucking for money. It's whoring, whatever you call it. You can use euphemisms, all the euphemisms in the world you want. Fucking for money is fucking for money. That's what it is. And no, dancing is not the same thing. And even if you're naked, it's not the same thing. Unless you're out there using your body, touching somebody, whether it's hand or whatever, or mouth, all that disgusting shit. No. But they had ads for something that is illegal. The only place that prostitution, to my knowledge, is legal is within some parts of Nevada, but not Clark County, which is where Las Vegas is. But I think if you get outside the county, that's where you have your bordellos, like the Bunny Ranch and all these places that you guys have heard about. But yet something that's illegal, they can have ads in local papers, freebie papers, the papers that tourists need to learn about what's available in your town, where to go to eat. That is paid. The freebie papers that are paid for by the advertising, they had 4 ads in the back. Now, how can you have ads for something that's technically illegal? They use euphemism, but they have all these words that they use that are code words for things like Greek. You know what that means? It doesn't refer to you're from Greece or that you went to a sorority or fraternity. It talks about sex. I didn't know that when I was a teenager. Well, I didn't know that such a thing existed. Took an abusive boyfriend to learn about those things. Yeah, there's things going on that you guys have no fucking idea. I hope there's nobody under 18 that's watching this because you got an eyeful, an earful. I'm sorry, but sometimes you have to know the truth. How can you take a stand and affect change if you don't know the truth? You have to be aware. You have to identify an issue. You have to name the issue before you can deal with it. You can't solve a problem you don't name. President George W. Bush said that after 9/11 when he would talk about the war on terror and talking about getting tough with our enemies and taking a stand about our problems. And I love that man so much. I still do, even though he doesn't like Trump and they don't get along and stuff. It was George W. Bush that turned the GOP, honestly. And even though there's a lot he and I don't agree on, he's a religious fanatic. And, well, okay, maybe I shouldn't say fanatic. He's a devout believer in Jesus. But I don't understand how a person could get older and older and not figure things out. You're so, I guess, family traditions are really you can't break from things. This brainwashing, this cultural brainwashing, this fear. People are so afraid of real physical fiery hell, and nobody wants to be tortured. I understand that. So people, out of fear, they believe these things that there is no proof of and no substantiation of and no evidence of. I used to be a believer until I realized that there was no evidence. My bullshit meter started going off. I was raised Catholic, and I caught priests and nuns and brothers in so many things that we were told was sinful that they weren't supposed to do. When you catch people in lies for so long, it opens your eyes. My eyes were open when I was a little girl, 9 years old. Sometimes you just become sadder and wiser through life. And I don't understand how people, I guess you have to get past the fear of trusting your senses and what they tell you. You have to get past the fear of, do I dare defy what I was taught, what my parents and grandparents and great grandparents for the past couple 100 years, because they didn't know any better until very recently. We here in America, we had pretty much one culture. We didn't deal with a whole lot of other religions and other cultures because everybody pretty much was Christian except for a couple that were Jewish. That was all that seemed to be around here. You took for granted that people just believed in God, which is a generic name. Why would you call a deity by a generic name? It's like naming your dog or cat dog or cat. A dog or a cat or a deity is what something is. But then this deity or this person or whatever has a name. And yeah, again, this just doesn't make any sense. I'm sorry, but it doesn't. The evidence is not there. I don't get it, the things that people believe. But then again, there is things that I believe that I wasn't even told about men and sex and women and like things I believe. I'll tell you something silly that I honestly believe. I believe that if I was I was in two at least abusive relationships. And I honestly believe that with the one abuser, if say I went and slept with somebody else, which I feel honestly is long when you're being abused, once abuse starts, there's no such thing as cheating. You can get your comfort elsewhere. If somebody is doing the wrong whole thing, and I think you know what that is. It's a real disgusting thing to do to a woman. If that happens and it's not an accident, and they know what they're doing to you, then and you realize that your life with them means you're going to have to submit to all kinds of bad things that you don't want to, which is sexual abuse, then it seems to me that you have a right to get comfort elsewhere. You can't always move out when you're living with this person. You have a whole lot of stuff. It's a process, and I had to do that. I had to find out that there's this thing called storages that exist, and I had to go and I had to put my stuff in storage a little bit at a time. Okay, those are the things that I had to do in order to get out of my situation. It took time, it took planning. I had to write because he knew that I kept journals and stuff, and I'm sure that he read them. I had to get a new journal and write a whole totally different things, because there are times when I would spend more and more time with my friends, because when you're being abused, you want to be away from that. But work I loved because I was a dancer, and being on stage, even though I knew that I wouldn't get to keep my money, because he would take my purse when I came home and he would dump it out and he would take my money. That's Isn't that the sort of thing that pimps do to their prostitute, that they own literally? People talk about the evils of slavery and you focus on what the white person did to the black people. Well, many of us white people have some Irish in us. Irish people were slaves here in America too. Do you know what an indentured servant is? That's a slave. They're your servant. They're beholden to you because you got their passage to the new world. Literally, you have to work that off by living there and working there. That's no different than a black slave in a plantation down south, what they did to the Irish people. Where do you think my red hair came from? That's Irish blood in my veins. The rest of it's primarily English, but still, I have Irish blood in my veins. That means I have slave blood in my veins. Want to talk about this? Yes, white people are enslaved. Absolutely. It still goes on now. And you want to know something else with what's going on with our poor southern borders and those people? Some of those people haven't been able to afford to pay the coyotes, which get them across all these gangs and stuff. And there have been notes given to schools taking up collections for these kids to pay off the people that got them across the border. And the teachers are okay with this. And you wonder why you can't get a job because people are hanging out at Home Depot, undercutting you. You need your lawn taken care of. You need business done. Pay them under the table. They will do it cheaper than any licensed business. There are so much of this is going on where if you're a citizen, you got no rights. When I made my mother look outside at what's out front, I was showing her, telling her what was going on with that jitney. There's people in there. Their friends come up. They open up the window, drop things out. What do you think is going on? Come on, man. If it was me, I wouldn't care. And again, if they were giving me weed on a regular basis so that I didn't have to scrounge for fucking roaches outside. What if some of those things had fentanyl or something in it, or K2 or ice or all these things? They have a whole bunch of new dangerous drugs. It was not around when I was using drugs. They have things really, it's a different scene. And it's tickets. I still don't know what the fuck tickets are. They're not for a concert. Aerosmith isn't playing this week. And by the way, they gave up drugs too. So, don't even tempt them. If you know the guys in a band, don't even bring any of that shit around. I don't even think you should bring weed around them, honestly. Don't bring alcohol around them. When you know that people have been in rehab for things, don't bring drugs around them. That's just basic politeness. I'm concerned about what some people see me do, except for on camera, of course, because you guys can police yourselves and you know what's safe to watch. Don't let kids watch any of my stuff unless you've already watched it first and you watched and heard everything I say, please, because I don't want to be a bad influence on your kids. But in the same token, the onus is not on me. The onus is on you who created said children to police what they watch, because I'm not your babysitter. And you can pay me to be your babysitter, and then I'll think about it. Because frankly, I do need more of an income. So, and I'm considering things. I'm not considering everything, obviously. I'm not considering vice. I never consider vice. I'm starting to think the vice is not paying that well, number one. Or number two, there's too much competition in it. Say I wanted to, which I don't. There's too much competition. Everybody around, well, not everybody, but a lot of people around here are doing these things, the vice things, you know, and there's no money in whoring, I don't think either, because there's people that I know that are doing it just for drugs and stuff. You know, doing things for $5. That's ridiculous. That's disgusting. I knew girls in Hollywood that would do for a plate of eggs at Tommy Burgers. That's disgusting. And this is why so many men do not value females. They think we're all doing that. And then you'll judge me because I wear my garter belts and stockings and stuff. When the real whores around here, they don't look like that. They don't wear makeup. They don't try to dress beautifully. A lot of them look really, really, really tore up. They're doing things to survive. They're doing things because they need their crack or their heroin. I'm seeing so many. Do you know how many needle caps I see when I when I go in my front door? Needle caps, crack rock pipes, the Brillo that is used as a filter so that the hot crack doesn't burn their tongues or whatever. I see all of this stuff, all this litter. And I've already said a few times that, look, we don't have air conditioning because we cannot afford it. We have to have our windows open. And these people, when they hang out and they loiter and they blast their rap music, nobody ever blasts classical music. I would love for somebody to blast Beethoven's Fifth or Rachmaninoff or Beethoven's Eroica Symphony or Mozart's 40th or anything. As long as it's happy, some of that funeral dirge stuff, no, that would be depressing. But come on, between the obnoxious church music we sometimes hear, and of course, there's cars that I think are advertising that they're dealing that. So on the same time every day they show up with this pounding music as if to let everybody know I'm in town. I'm going to pull up over to the corner, or I'm going to go to a parking lot, and I'm going to open up my door and I'm going to blast my rap music, and you guys come on over and I'll sell you whatever. That's what we who live here think is going on. But, I just think it's interesting that there's people that want my family and me to move out so that they can have all this space. A 4-bedroom apartment can fill a whole lot of people. And if they're all of the same general persuasions, interests, whatever, then they wouldn't be bothered by all this stuff. If they love rap music and they love those hard drugs, then they wouldn't, and they smoke tobacco, then everybody could smoke in this house. Then they wouldn't mind stepping over 5 or 8 people. There's people, guys, girls, crack smokers. They eat here, leave trash. If you leave food wrappers up against a wall, and we have ant problems, ants, different sizes of ants, roaches, termites that are eating the wood. There's piles of wood crumbles around the windows. And I'm the only person in my home that has any time for cleaning. My mother is sleeping and sleeping and sleeping and sleeping. She's in pain. The other person that lives here, well, he's going to another city today. He's going to be gone. Maybe he'll be gone all week so that I can wash my hair a bunch of times, so that I can use the shower. Do you know what it's like to live in a house where somebody who's younger than you, but is physically stronger than you, and who hates your guts, can actually lock you out of the bathroom so that you can take a shower or even take a bird bath? That I have to use the half bathroom that my mother uses. She does bird baths. My mother doesn't take a regular shower or a regular bath. The last time my mother took a normal shower or anything was the day Cassie died. Yes, I'm outing my mother, and I'm not being mean about it. I'm just saying my mother has not been able to take a normal shower for over a year. Part of it is she can't lift her leg over the bathtub. She's too afraid to stand on that. They call it an invalid chair. It's a chair that for people that can't stand in showers or whatever, so they don't fall. I stand on it to get under the shower. There is so much debris and dirt in that bathtub. I do not bring the dirt in. Where does this dirt come from? It's not from me. When I rinse out the laundry that is all done by hand and is all done by me, all my mother's clothes, all my clothes have to be washed by hand. Now, how do you think I wash my sheets and my blankets? Do I wash my sheets and my blankets? Does my mother have anything clean to lay on? You saw that picture of what her bed looks like. No senior citizen should have to live like this. But when laundromats are too expensive and you can't wash a sheet in, what am I going to put in it? That bathtub is too filthy. A basin will not fit something like that. Even a big basin that I use, like if you've ever had a Caesar salad made for a family, that's made a big salad bowl that's literally about this big. And that's what I use to wash my clothes, and I rinse them and I dry them all over. But that place, that is filthy. My brother, oh, excuse me, the person that lives here, and he is already he arranged for a mail drop, a place where he can get his mail. How many years have I been trying to get an alternate mail address for the people that watch my channel that say they want to send me things, so I don't have to give out my residence address and put myself at risk? And by the way, if you want to know how to get a hold of me and you want to send me something by the post, look at the comments on the last full-length videos I made before I started live streaming again. And I don't mean the video that I shot using this computer. I mean videos that I shot using either a computer that died or maybe that tablet before I lost it. I actually hid my address in the comments, and I think I said the word "save this," and then I had a partial address. If you look at all of them, you could put my address together. Now, I'm hoping that I'm not talking to the Hillside Strangler here, but I know not that many people watch these anyway. So, and I really don't know that we're going to be here too much longer. So, we want to get out of here. My mother says that we're leaving. We don't have a place to go. Now, the other person that we live with, we believe, is on his way out. He has so many friends. He has friends with all kinds of moving vehicles. He can get his stuff moved out of here. Everybody he knows, everybody with cars. Unless somebody wants to volunteer to help me move my stuff out, I haven't gotten any. I don't know those kind of people. What are my homeless people going to help me with their hobo bagos? I mean, come on. And I know I say real cavalier things about my friends, and I throw around words like the bums. Well, you know what? I'm a bum too. My bum is not a bum is not a bad thing. A bum is somebody who hangs around. Okay, I don't party with liquor. I party with weed, but I love to loiter. I love to smoke weed. I can smoke weed all day, but I like to work. And my work, I prefer to do my work with music. I also love dancing. If I can find a nice strip joint that didn't require 10% tipping out and didn't expect some things like couch dances or lap dances or any of those shower dances. How do you keep from falling and hitting your head and getting a concussion doing a shower dance? That's what I want to know. They got all kinds of dirty, disgusting things, which I would never, ever consider. You know, there's those people that cannot believe that I got through my years in Los Angeles without compromising my moral values. But it's true. You know, not every dancer is a whore. I can't stress that for you enough. Even if the dance establishment has that going on, that doesn't mean all the girls are doing it. And I don't think it's because I have morals. It's that you can't go back once you've done a thing. I got sober off alcohol, okay? I don't know how I could live with myself if I decided one day, oh, you know what? I'm almost made 20 years. How much could it hurt taking a little bit of Rianiti or having a glass of champagne to toast the new year? It can't hurt anybody, right? But people can, and it does happen where that one drink causes them to go back to how they were and even worse. I'm not willing to take that chance and have alcohol ruin my life any more than the problems it already caused me. And as far as amphetamines go and stuff, there was fun to that. I won't lie. But a lot of the reasons why people did it didn't apply to me. Like I heard that speed makes people horny and stuff. Did the absolute opposite for me. It would, it didn't work. Those drugs did none of those things for me. They gave me some intellectual gratifications, yes. I like to do things like write analytical essays. I'm a deep thinker. I like to think hard about things, but I don't need drugs to do that. I do that anyway. Maybe what I liked about speed was that it seemed to accentuate how I was already with hormone fluctuations, which I don't know how they're fluctuating now, but there are things very similar to when a person comes down off of speed, and like if a person is actually bipolar because of the mood swings things, and if you're coming down off of speed, you can be kind of grumpy. But then if you're coming down off of cocaine, I think it's an even more depressing and morbid kind of uh come down. I think that's why I didn't enjoy cocaine as much. And plus it didn't have the effects that speed did of not eating and not sleeping. And if you want to lose your gut, you know, and of course, we never knew. I was snorting rails and I was working out and I was lifting weights and I was snorting rails off the edge of the sauna and doing things that I'm sure are not good for your heart. But I was a lot younger too. And, we take chances, not because we think we're invisible. I don't think there's anybody that doubts that you're going to eventually die. Well, when you realize how I realized that death was inevitable was when I looked at all these famous people from history and I realized that they all died. That there's nobody that, even though you may read these things in the Bible talking about this one and that one lived to be 700, 800 years. Nah. I had interesting talk with somebody the other day that told me with a straight face that the world was 6,000 years old. And it was a young person. He was under 18. And you know what? I know you got to be real careful what you say to kids, but I don't care. I said, look, I hope you don't tell that to your history teacher. I hope you don't tell that to uh, whoever is responsible for teaching you about geology and the history of our earth and creation. But no, this earth is billions and billions and billions of years old. Just because we did not live, by we, I mean Homo sapiens, humans, upright humans, did not live long enough to have the records that still exist. If you have a natural disaster or something, or somebody sets the thing on fire, you will lose the records that prove things like temperature fluctuations, the knowledge that humanity, the different cultures we have amassed, the intelligence that Homo sapiens uh, grew, the brain growing, the abilities of humans to do things, making tools, forging metal that has to be mined first, going from hunter gatherers to industrial. But these crazy religions that humankind has created for itself, and again, they get ruled because people believe them. But there has to be somebody to start the stuff that knows that he's lying to people to control them. If you get people who have no choice but to take you on your word and will believe you. I used to believe crazy things people would tell me. Like I used to believe mentally ill people that would tell me that they could talk to spirits and they would have a spirit that actually was from a girl that she and her family was set on fire in their sleep. And so, she became a spirit, and he talks to her and he sends her to help people. And he honestly said he sent this person to help me, whatever. And at the time, I'm ashamed to say I believed it. People believe, when even if there are people that have a certain psychic sensitivity, they can tell people who most of us don't. And since we don't have those abilities, we have no choice but to take them on their word. And if we're going to believe a psychic person that tells us that, oh, dear uncle, whoever just said hello and gave a special symbol, and maybe it is possible to talk to spirits and dearly departed, but there's so many people that don't have that ability, that can lie about it and tell people who are gullible, who believe anything. If you believe somebody can raise from the dead, and that not through your good works, but just through your faith, you be saved from living in fire forever. So in other words, you can be a total scumbag. You can burn up animals, torture people, do all that stuff. But just because you believe that Jesus is actually God, then you're saved from burning forever in fire. But you can be an otherwise good person, save cats, heal people, do all this good stuff. But because you don't believe the fairy hogwash, you're supposed to be in a lake of fire forever. No. And if there was a God and he said these things, that God would really be a jerk. I don't want to be friends with or love somebody that would smite a person just for not believing. If you created me, or I am otherwise born with a certain level of intelligence, so let's just say, for argument's sake, that I was a total genius. Oh man, I was smarter than all the computers in the world. I was smarter than all the other genius. Yeah, I'm smarter than the average bear, right? If I have this intelligence, then why would I believe somebody who has an ability that I don't have, that can't be proven, that says this invisible person that you can't see, smell, touch, taste, no senses can detect? This person uh, inspired somebody to write this book of all this stuff that's all supposed to be true. All this fanciful stuff from bushes that just set on fire. And of course, lightning didn't start it. Oh, and don't look back when I take you away from this den of iniquity, because if you do, you'll be turned to a statue of salt. The Lot Salt story. Now, first of all, who among us wouldn't look back? Even if somebody tells me not to look back, somebody, oh, don't look back, like protecting the fragile little woman from seeing something that might offend her. Believe me, I've already seen enough to offend me. I've seen flashers that show what they think is God's gift to women. And it's like, is that all you got? Or, oh my God, that's disgusting. I've seen the worst things that a person can see as far as images go. I've seen images of tortured people that have suffered the most horrific fates, and knowing that there's people that can do that sort of thing, that is so disgusting. The fact there are human beings that are willing to make somebody else, a person or an animal, suffer, or the people that are killing animals for food, that believe culturally that the more that animal suffers, the adrenaline of the suffering and the torture makes the meat taste better. That's disgusting. You know, what I care about? I don't care about how much money you got. Yeah, I might care about your looks if I want to date you. But you know what's really important? Are you kind? Even intelligence isn't the most important thing, because I'm convinced that if you have enough intelligence, you can be incredibly cruel if you don't have kindness. You have to have kindness to balance out that money and that intelligence. If you don't have kindness, the other things don't matter, because then you would be capable of unspeakable cruelty. I don't want that in my life. I don't want that in my relationships, boyfriends, girlfriends, whatever. I don't want abuse. I don't want it. I don't want to fear a person taking my money. I've been there, done that. You know how many times I've saved up over $1,000 only to have somebody like somebody I live with. Oh, but that's okay. And it wasn't a loan. I mean, yes, it was a loan. It was not a gift. Watch who you have loyalty to. Please don't make some of the mistakes I've made. Watch about loyalty toward political figures, because you can be loyal to them even if you do think they're the best thing to since sliced bread. Get you kicked off a YouTube channel for loyalty. Watch who you believe. People can and do believe the craziest bullshit. And if a person isn't kind, see, that's what I want to know. Yes, I judge people. I notice things like, do you treat yourself like you're better than people? Do you talk down to the help? Do you treat people, oh, this is just a cleaning person, this is just a clerk? Do you treat them like they're less than you? That's a bad sign. If you're unkind to animals, if you're unkind to homeless people, that's a bad sign. Now, I may bandy around the word bum, but again, I use it in a kind way. That's certainly no worse than the black guys that call each other nigger all the time. And yes, I said the word because I wasn't calling anybody that thing. There's a difference between talking about a word, saying this is a word and it's bad, but you know what? And I'm not going to back down to this free speech thing. But what's going on around here? And I try to be on good terms with everybody, but my God, this is the ghetto. This is the absolute ghetto, baby. And if they pay for my silence, at least if they gave me weed every day, yeah, then I wouldn't have made this video probably, because my silence would have been paid for. And yes, people's silence does get bought for things. And maybe this means I'm just as corrupt as everybody else, but look at it from my standpoint. We have been here 14 years now, since my father died, me and my family. My immediate family, that's who I live with. We had no idea what we were in for with this apartment. The first landlord we had, he told us that we were the first family of our nature that lived in this building, at least since he owned it. And by that, he meant a family like ours. And you can interpret this any way you want. You could say, oh, what, Caucasian people, which I guess that's what he meant. We did not bring the drugs, the vermin into here. And if people are being critical of us because we are an intact family, and because we're a family that's existed since my parents were alive, yes, we have a lot of stuff. We're not dirty. And I'm the only one who's doing any cleaning around here. And I do not want to have my life that's the only thing I'm doing is cleaning. No, cleaning is not my favorite thing. I cannot clean everybody's stuff. Okay? I can't do it. There's not enough hours in a day. I'm not getting enough sleep. My health is being compromised. What am I going to do? Put a bunch of junk food so I end up with a body like my mother's? I love my mother. Doesn't mean I want to look like her. I don't want to be fat, okay? I really watch what I eat and how much I eat. Why do you think I did drugs when I was younger? Nobody wanted to be fat. That was the thing. And now you can't say that without offending somebody. Well, guess what? I'm speaking the truth. I'm speaking my opinion. I don't want to let myself go. I mean, the wrinkles, apparently they're inevitable no matter what kind of skincare. I did an acid facial on my skin last night. We call the vampire facial. I did that. It makes you look like you got blood on your face. I soaked that on my skin for like 2 hours, 2.5 hours. And then I put something else on that has what is it? Find this thing I put on. Hold on. It's an oil. Oh, this is a vampire facial I used. It's AHA, that's alpha hydroxy acid, 30%, BHA, that's beta hydroxy acid, 2%. Healing solution from The Ordinary. That's my vampire facial. And then the oil that I put is I can't remember the name of it. Rosehip seed oil. And normally I'm not one for oils on my oily skin, especially when it's been so hot and humid for this past month. The only skincare I've really been doing on my face is the sunblock, which is non-negotiable when you're a white folk. I mean, really, sunblock should be non-negotiable for everybody. But I'm saying for white folk, if you want to keep your non-color. And that's the thing is, I want to avoid skin cancer that my father got. I want to avoid cancers. I want to avoid getting darker because I'm not ashamed to say I like how I was born. I like the skin I'm in. I like the body I'm in. I don't want it to change. I even like my little tits because, I rather, I am at peace with my body. A lot of people are never at peace with their body. They're never happy. And a lot of it, some of that's the reason why they do drugs. Whatever. We all have our reasons. But this is, and my mother keeps on saying, for years, she'd say, we're going to get out. We're going to move out. First of all, the three of us are not going to move soon. The other one, he's on his way out. He's got so many friends and stuff. He's got a place to go. My mother, I don't know what the future is for us. I don't know what the future is for her health. She's popping nitroglycerin pills. She has heart failure, not heart disease, heart failure. She's had heart failure for over 5 years now. As a matter of fact, she had heart failure when she was working the Taj Mahal. Now, so what does that mean? If anything happens to her, I have nobody with a vehicle to help me get my stuff out of here. As far as I know, I'm going to end up homeless. I have obviously lots of homeless friends, and I'm sure they will take me in underneath the boardwalk, wherever they're sleeping in tents, sleeping underneath the steel pier, which is in front of Hard Rock, all these places, and people are getting tickets, and then they get their stuff taken away from them. I can't risk losing my stuff. Plus, I can't be in the sun all the time. So he's going to be absorbed into his friends, whatever. My mother, she thinks that she can call 211, which is a senior information thing, senior citizens, they'll take care of her. The other one, he is disabled, so they have special protections. Me, I have no special protections. And when my mother was telling me, when I showed her the bullshit with the jitney, the people, drug dealers are living in, and all this stuff that they leave the debris and stuff. She was telling me about the rights I have. I said, what fucking rights do I have? I'm white. I'm a white United States citizen here in Atlantic City. That means practically no rights. I'm not doing crack. I'm not doing heroin. I'm white. I have no rights. I don't have a right to live in peace. I don't have a right to not have hip hop obnoxious crap. I don't know what you guys see in hip hop music as beats. And they talk instead of sing. And they got beats and funny sounds like their farts with their hands and stuff. And the clapping and the samples of other people's music instead of picking up an instrument and learning to play it. Okay, occasionally you'll hire some chick who could sing real good. Have a nice chorus and do any affectations that cultural bullshit. You can't listen to somebody do the Star Spangled Banner anymore without them doing affectations that make it disrespectful. When I hear the Star Spangled Banner, I don't want to hear a gospel song. I want to hear it sung straight, like Francis Scott Key intended, not this ghetto bullshit. And that's what this hip hop crap is. It's degrading our culture. And they say hip hop's been here 50 years. I find that hard to believe. I'm not amused by it. I don't relate to it. It's not my culture. I'm sick of it. I'd be happier in India listening to all the Bollywood stuff and everything. And of course, India, I heard, is not safe for unattended women. You guys don't know. But yeah, how are we going to get out of here? I have packed up. You know how many years I started packing? My grow room has my clothes bagged up, boxed up, and sometimes the mice bite through and you're getting things anyway. And then you get the smell, which is the mice pee, and you see the little black rice, but they're soft until they get hard. That's rice. That's mouse poop, by the way. And that gets in your things. And I washed everything of mine by hand. So what does this mean? I have to wash everything again by hand? And how am I going to protect my things from the vermin? I don't want to move my stuff, say it's all contaminated with vermin. I can't move it into another place and contaminate it with stuff. What am I supposed to do? And to have people, gossips that are live here in the building, that are friends with some very bad, powerful people. And they're friends with these bad, powerful people because they have no choice, because maybe, I don't know. I'm not going to guess, but sometimes people are beholden to people and they owe people things, and people have things hanging over people's heads. And, why else would somebody would be basically doing all these chores for you, and you put them up, and they're paying rent, and you're working them to death. Things like this go on. It seems to me that if a person's paying rent, they shouldn't have to be doing a bunch of work on top of it. Seems to me if they're working things, they should be able to get free rent. But no, things are going on here. And things are being allowed. And it's funny that this neighborhood has gotten worse and worse and worse, even with the organizations that have moved in to help people. And these organizations are all tax exempt. They get money from the federal government. They solicit donations, whether it's passing the hat or whatever. And it attracts more and more heroin, crack, all this stuff. I'm lucky if I find a couple of roaches. It's not enough for me, really. And we have to suffer. This neighborhood is getting worse and worse and worse. And yet there's people that are saying that we caused the mess. It was here before we got here, and it's only gotten worse. And it seems to me that they have problems with intact families. There are very few intact families around here. We are an intact family, started by a mother and father that were lawfully married, legally married before any sexy time, funny stuff happened. The children were created after the marriage, the way it was used to be, the way it only was, where if a woman got pregnant out of wedlock, she'd be sent away, or the Catholic Church would have them enslaved. There are churches in Ireland, in England, where they used to take in unwed mothers and they used to abuse them. And it just now came to light. Finally, the terrible harm that religions are doing is coming to light. There's a lot of good that some churches do. Yes, it's nice when they give free food to people, and it's nice when and I appreciate that. And believe me, I've eaten a lot of free food in my day. But a lot of this food didn't come from their God, didn't come from their Jesus. It came from volunteers. It came from other humans. Or it came from taxes by government programs, the federal government, like even the Salvation Army, great organization, right? They get donations. Casinos drop off food to the Salvation Army all the time. Plus, the Salvation Army gets donations from people, and they have all kinds of volunteers, and they have people that are paid to cook and sling the hash to the people and stuff. And they also, the food banks go through there, and they have days when anybody can come up and get free food. And I'm not going to lie to you and say that I haven't gotten food for my family too, because believe me, we have struggled since the Taj Mahal was closed. The check that who gets and my mother gets, that just barely pays the rent and most of the bills. Really, we could not afford to spend money on food and pay the bills. And let's not forget about my storage in LA. I still need to get out there, and I still need to try to consolidate 2 storages into one. That means selling stuff, giving away stuff. Nobody has once said, "Hey, Leathur, I'll put you up out there." Nobody has said, "Oh, you need to go out there." I'm going out there. I can't. I'm not going to take from my savings and go get on a Greyhound and everything. I may need that money to get that school bus to live in. And now, why is it there are laws against sleeping on vehicles that are parked on the city streets? You cannot do that. And yet, and I mean, I know I want to do it with my school bus, and I'm thinking, how do I do this in a way that doesn't attract attention? And I would want a school bus that just looks like a bus. And the inside it would look like a home, but the outside would look like a bus. Not a bus with things painted on it. That's the thing is people are getting away with things right under the nose of everybody that totally violate everything, every corruption thing, and it's all under the guise of things I can't say because I have to think of my own safety. But there's things going on here that would be such a big, huge scandal. There's all kinds of corrupt things going on here and with this city and with things going on here. You guys have no idea. And there are so many silently suffering people that are under the thumb of bad neighborhoods, people who are powerful, people who are in control. I don't know if this has something to do with, for all I know, it might have something to do with those Mexican drug cartels or something because they're worldwide now. I don't know. There's things going on here. And people who could do something about it, I think know what's going on and they don't do anything. My mother was saying something like, well, why don't you call the cops? I says, hell no, I'm not calling any cops because they would know it was me. They would suspect it was me. And I told my mother, I said, you can call little old ladies that never go out of the house. Nobody really messes with them. But freaky geeky looking chicks who have to go out in the real world, yeah, I'm an easy target. And I know it. So what are we going to do about it? I just want to get the fuck out of here so badly. I want to have enough strings on my instruments so that they actually are fully strung. I would like to be able to play guitar without breaking my goddamn strings. What is it about these strings breaking? It can't be my playing. I've tried playing quiet, but you have to be heard. And if I can't play music for my livelihood, what the fuck am I going to do? I don't want to get a normal job doing something I don't like. And anyhow, I don't have photo ID. And until I get my hair all colored, oh, by the way, you haven't seen my hair looks too blonde, but if you really look at it, I want you to see just how much color is actually in this hair. I'm afraid when I'm indoors, you can't see all the streaks of color. See, I put some teal, some blue in, purple, colors purple. So many shades of purple. So yeah, this place is going to absolute hell. And somebody who thinks he's powerful because he's on half the boards of directors of things in the city, and because he has a bunch of businesses, and he's got anyway, he's just a very, very bad person who's charismatic, and a lot of people like him. And I only say nice things about him just so that it gets back people. But he accused me of pissing out the window. He accused me of dumping a bucket of piss out the window. Uh, Whenever anything falls out the windows, and, I'm so sick of it. Uh, oh, I didn't show you all the things. This is Bao G1, if that's how you, the natural herbs dietary supplement. And these also, let's see if they look the same as those other ones. Yeah, these look like those other Po Chai pills. Let's see what the paper inside says. Oops. Now we're at 1 minute, 1 hour, 29 minutes, 56, 57. Okay. Bao G1 is a natural food supplement that has been very popular for more than 100 years. This doesn't say what's in them. Oh, ingredients: wheat flour, pollen, tangerine, coax barley, arrowroot, beefsteak leaf, angelica seed, magnolia bark, rice plant leaf, chrysanthemum, Howlin mushroom, and peppermint with natural flavorings and FD&C red number 3 dye artificial color added. Store box in a cool place. Manufactured by Li Chung Shing Tong Holdings Limited, 196202 Sat Si Mui Road, Hong Kong. This is what. See, that was cool that that didn't show just the Latin names of things. But no, it doesn't say what exactly it's for. It says how to use. Take 1 to 2 bottleful each time with sufficient water as food supplement when needed. Doesn't say exactly what to use them for. It says this plastic bottle contains about 0.07 ounces of herbal pills. Yeah, I'm going to have to show this to somebody who can read it. All right. Well, oh, and this is when my friend comes to try to find out why I can't get stuff out of here and make a regular video, which is what I want to do with my laptop. I found this piece of electronics here. I have no idea what this is. I'm going to offer it to my friend because he's always coming here, spending hours trying to figure out my electronics. I don't know what this is, but maybe he can do something with the circuit board or something. I don't like to show up empty handed when somebody's done something for me. You know, you got only a couple of days off of work a week. And if you're going to come over to my house and help me with something, I don't want to disrespect your time. I don't want to use you. I don't use people. I mean, sometimes, yes, I have to, but you know what? And then sometimes people will call me out on it and say, like one time somebody on YouTube actually said that I was, what did she call me? She said it was some synonym for user, an opportunist, she called me. Now, if you're surviving, don't you kind of have to be an opportunist sometimes? It's like if you're hungry, don't you have to find where food is? If you have certain needs, like I can't afford a ticket to Washington, D.C., I have a chance to get out there. Well, if I've already been offered a free ride, something, then okay, well, it happens to be the March for Life, and everybody knows I'm pro-choice, but I'm going to get that ride. And then the nuns got up my ass about that, and people, and it's like, and by the way, I don't go to the nuns anymore because after they treated me like, what's that bitch called? Uh, Not the Samaritan, the floozy that Jesus hung out with, Mary Magdalene, when they saw me on the hottest day of the year. And I'll set this up for you. I think I told this story. I was wearing my garter belt and my stockings, and I was wearing a bare midriff top that exposed all this. And I had a shirt. Now I was covered up more than this. I had a crop top, a crop t-shirt, because I had to have, my shoulders covered from the sun. And after I ate and everything, they handed me a shirt, which I guess they wanted me to put over my sunscreen covered and greasy body. And he looked like they just stepped in dog shit. I know that look. I got that look from police in Hollywood before. And I have not been to the sisters for their breakfast since. Tuesday, Thursday, the best breakfast in town for the poor people. Guess what? Once you give me that treatment that you're going to judge me on my appearance, nah. So, and that marked the end of my brief reflirtation with the Roman Catholic Church. I mean, I don't know what I was revisiting that again, but sometimes for sentimental reasons you think about your cultural upbringing, and wouldn't it be nice to revisit that? But you know what? I have found closer to that thing you guys call deity, God, whatever. I found closer to deity when I climbed up into that chariot when the Hare Krishnas were in town. I felt something from that. And you know what? I'm sure I was just caught up in the moment. I felt closer to this thing you guys call God in the Hindu temples than any of this Christian stuff. You know, but I'm a metaphysician. I'm basically a witch slash atheist, if you want to know the truth. And the thing is, you do not need a belief in any deity for magic to work. You focus the mind, you don't need to pray on top of it. You focus the mind here on what you want and what you need, and you act as if, in order to attract these things into your life, you have to have a conscious feeling of not you're feeling this lack and you want this thing, but you have to imagine that you already have it. The secret to getting things, to these affirmations, things working, you have to imagine, like, say I want $1 million. You can't say, oh, I want this, I need this. You're in a position of lack, you are conscious of not having. You have to imagine that even though our senses tell us, like, okay, my senses tell me that I live in the ghetto. They play rap music outside. I have to step over people who will stretch out a lawn chair through almost a whole length of the sidewalk. I have to struggle past or sometimes walk in the street to get away from these people. Why should we have to live like this? But now I could use my mind over matter, and I could imagine that I live in a high class neighborhood where people aren't doing these things, where I don't have to step over bodies, where I don't have to cover my ears because the hip hop bitch better have my money and nasty talk goes on, you know. Um, but anyway, you have to have a feeling of the wish already fulfilled, and that's how you track the things into your life. That, and of course, you could do this spell work and stuff. And there's lots of really good books on the subject. And I have been into metaphysics ever since I left the Roman Catholic Church. When I saw that was a bunch of baloney. And it's just your mileage may vary, but I have figured out that none of this stuff works. I love it when people credit God for healing. When what about the doctors and the nurses and the medical people? Let's give credit to medicine, shall we? There's hardworking people in the medical field who serve us and probably aren't getting paid enough. And I'm grateful as a person that has Medicaid, so there's the best insurance around, which you can only get when you're dirt poor, by the way. The closer you get to middle class, everybody's striving for middle class. I don't know why you want to be in middle class. My mother, who's approaching middle class, she has to pay for insurance. She has to pay all these things. Oh, we don't qualify for the low income discount because we're making a little bit too close to, hello, I have no income. He has Social Security. She has Social Security. And whatever my dead father's pension is. You know, how is that middle class? This is poor. And again, my mother's saying that I have rights. What rights do I have? Not rights to live fear free, not rights to live without tobacco smoke coming in my home. I don't have the right to not have to listen to a musical form that I loathe. I don't like hip hop music. I don't relate to it. It's not my culture. It's not my scene. I don't like it. And I don't like a lot of this pop crap. The people that society says you're supposed to like. I'm supposed to like Beyonce because she helped to get Obama and everything. I can't stand her. I find her annoying as all fuck. This is ridiculous. This is fucking ridiculous. I have to live with now. I'm curious as to what's underneath there. If anybody picked up anything, I bet they didn't. This is ridiculous. We shouldn't have to live like. Oh, I showed this before. I'm showing this again. Do you recognize this? Did you draw this? I'm seeking the person that drew this. I found this in Hollywood, California when I was collecting recyclables in Shit Alley. Somebody threw this out. This is a pencil drawing of a movie set of a ship scene, and it doesn't have a signature on it. I would like to get this to the person that drew this. This is special. This is the person that did this. The detail was quite amazing, and I would like to find out who did this. I would like to give them credit. I would like to give them publicity. So if you guys have any idea who may have discarded a piece of art in Hollywood, California in the late 90s, hit me up. Okay. I'm going to go. I'm going to, what am I saying? I can't think straight. I'm going to put this back up here and I'm going to cut this short. I said what I had to say. This is just out of control. It's out of control. Oh, and the drug dealing also happens in the alley. Has a gate that has a lock. Only a few people have a locked gate, but yet enough people have a copy of this gate that they do dealings in the alleyway. And I don't mean weed either. They're talking about things I don't even know. The little bathroom, we do have a toilet. That's one thing that my mother and I are allowed to use in this building. We are allowed to use our toilet. That is it, and the sink is in the half bath. It's right over the windows, over the alleyway. And we hear the drug deals. People slam going in and out of that gate that they could only do. It's a door, it's a metal door. You have to have a key to get in that. There's a lot of people with that key going in and out, and they drew drugs in there. And hey, but people want us to leave. We're not dealing drugs. We're not doing anything wrong. I might not have house beautiful. I may be a messy housekeeper. So I don't have any help. And you know what? There's more things I could do my day. If I clean 24 hours, this place would never be clean. I am overwhelmed. I can't do this anymore. I told my mother, I am on strike. Fuck this. I quit. I want to leave so badly. I want to get the fuck out of here. I love my mother. I do. I love her so much. But you know what? I'm so overwhelmed with this. I'm ready to leave her behind. My cats are dead. I would never have left my cats. You know that. But I'm so overwhelmed by this. I'm willing to, if I could get a vehicle and what I need, I would like to get my stuff out of here, take it to a warehouse, fumigate it to make sure that nothing is attached to it, then get my bus, then move things into my bus. I'm going to need to park at someplace to work on it because I can't do that here. I need to get out of here. And I can't stick around, take care of my mother. I can't deal with this anymore. And even if something happens that things need to be settled, when a person dies, I don't want to come back here. I don't want to deal with this anymore. I want to get my stuff. I want to get the fuck out of this building. I would love to get out of Atlantic City itself. This town cannot help me anymore. I was never, I thought when I got that job with the radio station, I thought that was going to open doors for me. I was finally going to meet higher class people than the people on the boardwalk and the gangs and stuff. It didn't lead to anything better. When I lost that job, you want to know what happened in my life? I didn't get another job after that. When I looked, believe me, I never found anything else. I had to find a way to get a guitar in my life that you could actually hear and start to, hit the boardwalk with that, because this internet stuff that I'm doing is, I don't do too much in the way of surveys now. This computer gets really hot and electronics heat up, that they can get damaged and corrupted and stuff. This town has never been open for me. This town has never let me in. This town has never offered me love. I could never date in this town. I could never find humans that I was both attracted to and was compatible with, that wasn't crazy and on all kinds of drugs and stuff or drinking themselves to death. I can't find a partner here. And because I came here after 9/11, when I'd already spent a number of years in Los Angeles and I spent so much time here, I never got a chance to maybe meet a person that would make me want to have children. I never got to have children, never got to be married. And okay, sure, I could get married when I'm 99. When I'm 99, I can't have children. I never got a chance to do that because I wasn't in a place where I can meet that special someone. Because when 9/11 happened and I was invited to come back here, my fate was sealed. So, yes, I got a roof. Yes, I got to take care of my father. Yes, I'm taking care of my mother. And I love my parents. And yes, I am enjoying some of the friendships that I have here in town. I mean, when you want to talk about nice, friendly, homeless people, Atlantic City has the kindest, friendliest homeless people you're ever going to meet, except for the Los Angeles homeless people. They're great too, and the San Francisco homeless people. But you know what? Other than that, Atlantic City has not ever shared that it cared for me. The people of Atlantic City, with few exceptions, they made fun of me. The men thought I was a hooker. You know, Atlantic City is not the kind of place that embraces individuality. Atlantic City is not the kind of place that appreciates glamour unless it's very conventional, very safe glamour. You know, Atlantic City has gentlemen's clubs where if you like big titty girls, you can see them. And of course, they have to pay 10% of whatever to whoever they're paying their tip outs to. And I've come up to some of them, I asked these places how they make their money. And you have to do couch dances, lap dances, shower dances, all this sex work kind of stuff, which I won't do. I won't do it. So I would make very little money in these places, and then they would still demand I give 10% of my tips to somebody who's not Uncle Sam. No, that's bullshit. You're not out there shaking your ass and or showing your etceteras and your whatchamacallit. You don't deserve a peace of mind. That's they're pimping people off. Whether or not they're actually doing sucky fucky, they're still pimping people off. Heck, if you want to be technical, any government that taxes people, they're pimping you off. They're taking from you. Now, I could see if you want to go down to Florida to the villages, and I've been checking that out a lot. I'm thinking that seems like an amazing place. It's a 55 and older community, as they call it, retirement community, and they have all these amenities and everything, but the houses are expensive, and you can't they have real strict rules, deed restrictions. You can't decorate. You can't have, if you have a vegetable garden, you can't have it in your front yard or your backyard. You can't have a clothesline to dry your clothes. What if you can't afford washers and dryers and you do your stuff by hand? And by the way, drying dryers, clothes dryers, they are not good for fabric clothes. My mother never wanted her bras dried. When we did have an apartment, we had an apartment that had a little tiny washer and dryer. Oh my God, that was such a luxury for like sheets and blankets and blue jeans and men's trousers and big things that are very, very, very hard to wash by hand. You know, I've been washing stuff by hand for years. You know, you wonder why people have arthritis and their sore wash hands and stuff. It's a good thing I play guitar. I don't care about having soft hands. My calluses in my fingers would scratch your eyes. You know, I don't have nice, pretty, long nails. I play guitar, so I can't have nice hands. But yeah, apparently in Atlantic City, I can't have a nice life either because it's ghetto, it's expensive. You've got organizations that are corrupt. You've got so much corruption in this town. It's disgusting. You can't trust the police. And, you know, I don't want to say anymore. You guys don't snitch me off. This is a video I don't want you to share because I probably compromised my safety in saying what I had to say. But something has to be said. And my mom is going to be making some phone calls. And if anything happens to me and you don't hear from me, worry. But as long as I keep broadcasting, I guess I should be safe. Anyway, with that, I'm going to say goodbye from my ghetto area of Atlantic City. If you're looking for a nice, safe, family friendly place, this is not it. If you want crank, crack, heroin, all that stuff, all these designer terrible drugs. You want $2 hookers that look real tore up and stuff. Come to Atlantic City. Show you. Take care, be safe, spay and neuter your pets and all that stuff. And I will talk to you in a couple of days. Bye.